Hello, welcome back, boys and girls. Thank you for joining us again today. Today we're reading Toni Trouble and the Great Lunchroom Adventure, written by Shiko J. Have you ever gotten in trouble in school? Well, this book is about a special little girl and her friends and how their day went terribly wrong. Now let's see what happens. Let's get started. I got it! Toni screamed as she stumbled to the ground, clutching the ball. And she got to her feet quickly and waved the ball in the air. I got it! I got it! Good catch, said one of the boys. I've never seen a girl in a dress catch a ball like that. Now, Toni Trouble earned a nickname because she had a habit of getting into mischief. Toni gave him the mean face as she wiped the dirt from her mahogany skin and tried to put a big brown curly hair back into a ponytail. Now the bell rang for lunch and students lined up to go inside. Today was Fish Finger Wednesday at school and no one was happy about it. Most kids only ate hot lunch for the chocolate chip cookie and milk, and Toni was no exception. She stood in line, waiting her turn for lunch, and wrinkled her nose after Miss Dill, the lunch lady, slopped mixed vegetables and fish fingers onto a tray. Ew! Yuck! Toni said under her breath. Now Toni continued through the line, collecting the rest of her lunch before taking a seat at the table with her best friends. Red sat at the end of the table, Freckles across from him with Harley, Red's twin sister, and she was as big as her brother, and no one in school dared mess with her and Kelly. Now, the smallest of the group with straight black hair that hung down her back and almond shaped eyes. And she and Toni sat at the other end. Freckles was skinny with a mousy voice, dark brown hair that constantly fell across her forehead, and glasses that never stayed on his nose. I dare you to eat a full spoon of those vegetables, he said to Red. No, you do it first, and I'll give you $1, Red said. He was a big kid for his age, with curly red hair. Huh, here we go, Kelly said with wide eyes. This is not going to end well. And Toni grinned and started to chant, Eat it, eat it, eat it. Now Red joined Toni, and so did Harley. Even Kelly couldn't resist. And then they banged on the table. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. Slowly, Freckles lifted his spoon, but instead of putting the vegetables in his mouth, he sneezed. Achoo! And the vegetables flew across the table and landed in Red's mouth as he was laughing. I guess you both lost the bet, Toni said, laughing and pointing at the boys. Well, How about you taste some? Now, Red said to Tony after throwing a handful of vegetables at her. Tony and Kelly looked at each other with wide eyes. Food fight! They both shouted, using their spoons like slingshots. Now the girls sent mashed potatoes flying across the table, straight into Ollie's hair. Miss Dale tried to restore order, but she was hit with flying fish fingers, and that was all it took. She scooped up a handful of mixed vegetables and threw them at the students closest to her. And then the double door swung open, and Principal Wade blew his whistle for everyone to stop. Miss Dale? Principal Wade scolded as Miss Dale pulled her arm back to throw more mixed vegetables. And Miss Dale turned and looked at Principal Wade with a look of shock. I'm sorry, sir, Miss Dale said, and she dropped a spoon back into the pan of vegetables. Who started this? Principal Wade asked. Tony, Red, Harley, Freckles, and Kelly pointed at each other, and soon every student in the lunchroom started talking at the same time. And Principal Wade blew his whistle again. Now everyone, clean up this mess and detention for everyone after school. The children moaned that he wasn't being fair. It's all your fault, Tony whispered to Red. No, it's your fault, Red answered. Now Principal Wade looked around one more time. He turned to Miss Dale. Make sure this cafeteria is sparkling before even one student goes back to class, he said sternly, and Principal Wade turned to leave. Tony pointed to the mashed potatoes stuck to the wall above the doors, and the students shushed quickly and held their breath. Mashed potatoes landed on Principal Wade's shoulders and slid down his back and the front of his funny polka dot suit. Now Miss Dale giggled and the children erupted into laughter. Principal Wade looked down and started laughing as well. Now, after school, Tony walked home with her friends, talking about the food fights and how much fun it was, even when cleaning up the mess, and saying goodbye to them when they reached their houses. Now, Kelly's house was the last one before Tony's. See you tomorrow, Kelly said, waving. Bye. Tony turned up the sidewalk that led to her door, and when she saw Mama standing in the doorway, she stopped. Uh-oh. Principal Wade called, Mama said, her arms crossed, shaking her head and smiling. Tony trouble. Now let's go wash the mashed potatoes out of your hair. Wow. Silly, silly Toni Trouble. Thank you for joining us again, boys and girls, for this remarkable story time. We thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you soon.